Since the announcement in August of 2019, Universal's Epic Universe theme park has become a huge contender in the theme park space. With discussions of Universal versus Disney heightening up, Universal just announced a year-round horror attraction coming to Las Vegas, a park centered towards families for Texas, and a brand new park possibly coming to the UK. Epic Universe's 2025 opening may be one of the ways Universal Orlando Resort starts to drive traffic away from other Orlando attractions and towards them. Here is everything we know so far about Universal's newest theme park and precisely why it will change the game. Epic Universe, planned to open in early 2025, is going to be the third Universal theme park to open in the Orlando area. Epic Universe's location, however, is about to become the very beginning of Universal's South Campus. What we think of now when we think of Universal Orlando is all the stuff located together. We have Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, City Walk, and Volcano Bay. It's all located in what will soon be known as the Northern Campus. This new stuff, due to the location, will be 15 minutes down the road and will be referred to as the South Campus. What this is effectively doing is it's widening the reach of Universal Orlando. Just like Disney has a gigantic footprint with their multiple parks being miles away from each other, this is going to do the same thing. Universal is going to expand their reach in the Orlando area, and they're going to have constant transportation between these two areas. With the addition of Epic Universe this far away, what it's going to do is it's going to increase the ability for park hopping and, more specifically, increase the average length of stay for a visit to Universal Orlando. So let's take a deeper dive into Epic Universe, the history, the layout, and what is expected to come when Epic Universe opens next year. The epic history of Epic Universe is as follows. Although Universal Orlando just announced Epic Universe in 2019, the land in which the park will be occupying was originally purchased by Universal way back in the 90s. However, at that time, due to financial, commercial, and other ownership reasons, the land had to be sold off. In the late 90s, Universal started to establish themselves in the Florida theme park space, especially as a competitor to Disney. The company was in the midst of buying what is today known as Islands of Adventure, and they decided to purchase the Orlando water park Wet n Wild. They were also seeking to purchase a 2,000-acre stretch of land near the Orange County Convention Center. Universal had filed plans with the city of Orlando with its intentions for this property, which would have included a third theme park and potentially the opportunity to expand to a fourth theme park, a second city walk, more hotels, more timeshare units, and a sporting complex similar to what Walt Disney World has with ESPN Wide World of Sports. Through this, Universal would have accomplished everything that Disney had down the street. However, this didn't pan out, as once Universal had finished Phase 1 with Islands of Adventure, City Walk, and Portofino Bay, guests still weren't turning from Disney World to do multi-day vacations at Universal, and Universal's money was dwindling. Once the company Vivendi swiped in to buy Universal in 2000 for $34 billion, expenses were cut all across the board for Universal Parks and Resorts. This meant that newer attractions were slowed down and or canceled completely. The upcoming hotels were scrapped, and in December of 2003, the 2,000-acre plot of land was sold off for $70 million. If we fast forward a bit to 2015, we see a massive influx of money poured into Universal because of the success of Diagon Alley and Volcano Bay. Universal decided to purchase this land back for $130 million before acquiring 101 more acres in 2017 for $27.5 million. This is where Epic Universe makes a return. Epic Universe was announced in August of 2019, and it was originally set to open in 2023. Tom Williams, chairman and CEO of Universal Parks and Resorts at that time, said that it would be the most immersive and innovative theme park Universal has ever made. However, we all know what happened next. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, the project was delayed indefinitely and construction was even halted. But on March 3rd, 2021, Comcast announced that the restart of the construction would begin immediately. On January 27, 2022, Jeff Snell, the CEO of NBC Universal, stated on the earnings call that Epic Universe would be opening in the summer of 2025. In May of 2022, Universal offered up 13 acres of land near Epic Universe for the company Brightline to use in building their commuter train to Orlando. So, whoa, this is a bunch of information, a bunch of dates, and a bunch of numbers. But basically, this is a gigantic project. This rivals some of the stuff that Disney did in the very beginning. This thing is huge. So now that you are up to date on the epic history of Epic Universe, let's talk about this park as it begins to open. The first thing we are going to talk about is security changes. As you may know, at the current park, or the quote-unquote northern campus at Universal Orlando, you enter the parks from a parking garage where you go through security before going into City Walk, and then you go to the park. However, with Epic Universe, it's not tied to an existing park or the parking structure. Epic Universe is unable to use the same security as the other parks, and instead will have a 2-in-1 security and ticketing in the front of the park, similar to what other theme parks have out there. Now you may be saying to yourself, Josh, this is so boring, who cares about this? And I agree, it is pretty boring, but here's where it starts to get interesting. Currently though, Universal has a patent for a product that may revolutionize the ticketing system and experience at Epic Universe. And this technology may change the game and expand to future parks. So here's how it works. Here's how they are changing the game. Instead of using a fingerprint scan like Disney uses, a new patented biometric facial recognition system would scan a guest's face as they enter the park and allow them into the park's main hub. However, the guest's face would be tied to their ticket, and if they had a paid ticket, they would be allowed to enter other areas of the park. If they did not, though, they would not be able to enter other areas of the park besides the main hub. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This allows guests who do not have a ticket to enter Epic Universe to be able to access the main hub to shop and to dine, but only paying guests would be allowed to enter the exclusive lands through the entrance and each land through their facial recognition software. So that's a lot, but basically it just helps the park keep track of guests and allows people who do not have a ticket to enter. While people are able to opt out of this facial recognition at the parks, in order for a system like this to work, it needs to be able to scan everyone's faces at the park that day. However, Universal knows this, and they've been slowly implementing testing on this at their current parks to kind of work out the kinks. So we'll just have to wait and see how this facial recognition goes, but I definitely think this can change the theme park game. If this works, a lot of those high-tech parks will start to, use this. Now we get to the really cool stuff, the park designs and the ride. So similar to the Disney parks, Epic Universe is going to be implementing a hub and spoke style. Basically, there's a central hub in the middle, and then off to the sides are the different lands. This park's lands are going to be very, very cool. We have the Isle of Berk, the Ministry of Magic, Dark Universe, Super Nintendo World, all awesome IPs. We also have the addition of Celestial Park, which will include your Mock Rides dueling coaster. It's going to be a very awesome experience, which is going to be the park's icon in a sense. If we move on to Super Nintendo Land, it's going to be very similar to the one in Universal Japan, as well as the one in Universal Studios Hollywood. Super Nintendo World is a theme land dedicated to Super Mario, that's pretty obvious, and while there are some similarities to the land in Japan and Hollywood, this one is going to be even better. You're going to enter through one of those green pipes in Mario, and you're going to be immediately immersed into the land. And there are going to be some awesome attractions here. First, you have that little Omni-Mover ride, which is the Yoshi thing you go around. No one really cares about that. But when you get to the cool ones, you have Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, which is a mix of a shooting dark ride, a racing dark ride, and, regular dark rides. This ride is going to be very similar to the ones already out there. It looks awesome, but hopefully it's a bit unique to the Orlando one. And now we are at by far the coolest ride, and this is going to be the Donkey Kong Coaster. Rumored to be named Donkey Kong Minecart Madness, this ride is going to be something truly unique. We have never seen a storytelling coaster done like this before. Basically, you board your minecart and you go through an awesome journey, avoiding traps and even jumping over sections of track. The way this coaster works is really cool. You have a real track on the bottom and a fake track on top where you can do all sorts of cool storytelling elements. This coaster is super high up on my bucket list, as well as it's going to be a major enhancement to the coaster industry. If this is popular, more parks will start building themed attractions like this. This is really going to show how much theming can affect a ride, and I definitely think it's going to catch on. If we move on to the How to Train Your Dragon section of the park, we can see an emphasis on storytelling and theming again. We have our family roller coaster here, which looks pretty fun, but what's really going to make it is the theming. This ride is going to have epic immersive theming. Get it? Epic universe? Okay, never mind. But it's going to just be awesome. We also have a flat ride here, which looks pretty fun. It's one of those Gerstlauer Skyflies or Sky Tower. It looks very awesome. In the Dark Universe section, we also have a launch spinning coaster rumored to be themed to the Wolfman. This is stuff that is just very story driven, and that's what makes Epic Universe special and unique. The way it changes the game is all the rides have immaculate storytelling in them. All of them. Even the flat rides and even the little carousel in the front. It is going to be awesome, and it's going to be a real shock to parks like Disney who have been kind of slacking in the storytelling lately. Also in the Dark Universe section, there's going to be some type of Kuka Arm style ride. Kind of what you see at the Harry Potter section at Universal's Islands of Adventure. We don't really know too much about this. We think it's going to be themed to Frankenstein, but who knows? It's going to be very cool. And finally, we have the Ministry of Magic section. The rumors here are that you're going to be riding some type of VR attraction. Probably that you're riding a broomstick and flying through. Who knows? This is the one that's been kept really under wraps because most of the stuff is indoors. There are also rumors for a dark ride here. Probably something called Battle for the Ministry of Magic, where it's something similar to the Spider-Man ride at Islands of Adventure. Basically, there are a lot of dark rides in this park. Dark rides, theme coasters, and theme attractions. The thing that's going to make this unique is all of the theming, and I'm absolutely here for it. So now let's get to the question that I posed in the beginning of this video. Is Universal going to win against Disney? Or in other words, will this park take guests away from Disney? Unlike local parks, where when you have too close to each other, it doesn't really matter that much because they're both kind of cheap, Universal and Disney are very expensive. It is very rare that families do the true extent of Walt Disney World and the true extent of Universal, because it costs a lot of money. Families are either going to choose the Universal experience or the Disney experience. So is this going to bring people to Universal rather than Disney? And the answer to that is yes. One of the things that surprisingly helped Universal is the fact that this park has been under construction for so long. Anticipation for this has been building up a lot, and even your average Joe out there knows that this thing is coming. They are excited. A lot of people cannot wait to get out here. So I think when it opens, it's going to have massive crowds within the first couple of weeks. It's going to be crazy. And in the long term, it definitely helps Universal by giving them a third park. And like I mentioned at the beginning, it's going to increase the average length of stay for these people. They're going to stay longer at Universal and maybe choose it instead of Disney. And with Universal showing no signs of stopping, with them expanding into London, Las Vegas, Texas, I think Disney needs to be worried. They're obviously not going to put Disney out of business. Disney's always going to have its fans, but it's going to really shine the light on the fact that Disney needs to innovate. They need to maybe add a new park, increase the quality of attractions, and really do stuff to make guests happy. Lately, Disney hasn't been doing much that has really garnered a lot of guest positive feedback. Tron did okay. People like Tron, that's pretty good, but it was under construction for a very long time. And then as for the retheming of Splash Mountain, people are very divided on this, so in terms of guest feedback, I don't know how it's going to go. So those are just some of my thoughts about Epic Universe, and this thing is truly going to be epic, pun absolutely intended. And I cannot wait to get out there next year and ride some of these attractions. They look fantastic. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Epic Universe, and should Disney be worried? This is the Kosher Josh, signing out.